Good evening and welcome to Elizabeth Burnt, This and That.
I am going to be reviewing Keeper, the last book in the Affinity series by Miss J.S. Lenore. And I have actually met Mrs. Lenore, and she's an absolute delight. What was so funny about me meeting her was I was talking to a friend of mine about the Affinity series, and curiously enough, he had never heard of them. And we were just walking around minding our own business at a convention, and I was dressed up as a Dragon Maid character, and she was around the corner with her books on a table, and she overheard me talking to my friend, and she said, "Are you talking about the Affinity series?" I said, "Yeah," and she said, "I'm the author." I thought, no. So she wanted a picture with me, and I got a picture with her, and we're both hugging each other, and it was incredible.
How long ago was that?
Oh man, I think that was like 3 years ago, maybe, at least.
Was I with you?
No.
Okay.
No. You weren't with me. You were with me at PopCon.
So that's been probably more than 5 years
Probably
ago.
more than 5 years, at least. Yeah, but this last book does not disappoint. It's short, but just the way she writes is very compelling. She transfixes you. She never lets you go. And it's a 5-part series. And the books are as follows: Burner, Reader, Healer, Speaker, and of course, Keeper. Lenore doesn't disappoint in this phenomenal conclusion. I read the previous 4, and it was like returning to an old friend. J.S. is an Indy native, although she hails from Chicago. She includes Indy in her tales, and I always found that exciting and heartwarming. I find it interesting that she uses Japanese mythology here with the inclusion of an onryo. If you are unaware as to what that is, it's a spirit that can do harm in the physical realm, often called a yokai or demon. Japanese ghost stories have quite a few of these, and the description alone, this entity, would certainly be one to be reckoned with. The conclusion was outstanding, but it was rather bittersweet. Now if I see JS again, I can tell her I finished the series and absolutely adored it. It was a tremendous read. It reminds me of quite a bit of the anime Phantom Quest Corps or Yu Yu Hakusho. Highly recommended. 2 thumbs, way up, 5 stars without question. See if I can find an excerpt. Okay. I keep walking toward them. Whatever instinct is telling me to run, muffled by the fog. The shapes are larger than I first thought. As I draw closer, they loom higher and higher against the pale sky, barely visible but somehow more ominous for their indistinctness. It's not until I am nearly at the foot of one that I realize what I'm looking at. A corpse towers over me. Its arms and legs are bloated and blackened with decaying blood. Its stomach has already given way to the gases building within it. Viscera swing from its gaping stomach and ribs. Long loops of intestine, like the remnants of ragged clothes around its waist and hips, drag on the ground behind it. Its face, sunken and skeletal, turns slowly to look at me. Its mouth hangs open, its lower jaw held onto his skull by flimsy strips of skin and decayed muscle. The tongue lolls from the bottom of its jaw. The muscle a darkness in the shadow of its skull. "Burner," it whispers in my mind. One of its hands lifts sluggishly. It's massive, twice as big as I am even without the flesh clinging to its bones. I stumble back and the bones dig into the ground before me. The skeletal hand rests there for a moment and drags back towards the corpse. Its fingertips leave furrows in the ground that remind me of a field tilled for harvest. More voices join the first, all of them whispering, "Burner, Burner, Burner," into my mind. I spin around, though even that terrified motion is slow. The air sticks to my skin and clothes. It grabs at me, and I drag power into my body into sending out a wave of blue and light and orange light. The corpse stumbles back, and from the depths of its eye sockets, a red ember begins to burn. "Keeper," it whispers. The other voices fall silent. They stare at me with sightless eyes, their bodies preternaturally still. The air around me feels like a held breath, the world poised and waiting. Keep her. It reaches for me again. I bolt awake, panting, my body covered in sweat. Light glances through the window into my dresser where Priya is sitting, watching. Her eyes are shadowed, dark like hollows of a skull. It's okay, Kim, she sends quietly. Go back to sleep. I'll keep watch. It's a long time before I find sleep again. And she actually discusses the different terms in the back of the book. If you're not familiar with her terminology, you can access it very, very easily. Kind of reminds me of Supernatural too. The glossary of terms, yeah, it's from 256. Medium, a person possessing the ability to interact and communicate with the afterlife and the spirits of deceased peoples. Mediums take up about 0.2% of the population. They bond with ghosts who have yet to turn as the final step of their training. And it goes on, but
Is that the last review for the night?
For the night, yes.
All right. Elizabeth and I have been getting over a cold.
That's why we sound horrible.
I caught mine 2 weeks ago. She caught hers a week ago.
Yay!
Which leads me to believe I'm at fault for giving her
Oh,
her
come
cold.
now. Don't say that.
So
It's fine.
anyway, I still got the sniffles pretty bad, and my voice hasn't returned to normal. And her voice is still trying to make a recovery.
Yeah.
We saw a really cool train. It's hard to call it a train. It was a locomotive with one car behind it.
Yeah.
I think one or two cars.
2.
And did it have two cars
It
behind
had
it?
2 cars, and
I've got it-
one was, I think, a generator.
I got video of it on my phone. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
one buffer car between the locomotive and what looks like a generator, and then one car behind it.
And
So
he was in a hurry.
if I have time, I'll attach that 30-second video to the end of your review so people can see what we were talking
Yeah.
about. It's getting dark here. These iPhones are really good about sucking up the light, recording in very low light situations. But it's about 7 o'clock p.m. right now
Yeah.
on the, what date in October are we at? 25th?
27th? Is it the 27th,
27th, is
or
it?
the 28th?
I lose track on the weekends. It's Sunday the 27th of October,
Yeah, it's the 27th.
2024.
Yeah.
And it's getting a little chilly out. I don't know what the temperature has dropped to yet. We've been having a super mild October. I mean, just amazingly
It's absolutely
mild
beautiful.
October. And right now, according to the Weather Channel on my phone, the temperature is 56 degrees.
Not too bad.
And it's going to drop down to...
What, 20 degrees or 30?
it's going to get down to 36 tonight.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
But look at this. It's going to be 71 degrees tomorrow. We're west of Indianapolis, Indiana. 71 degrees on Monday, 81 degrees on Tuesday, 80 degrees on Wednesday. Record-setting high temperatures. I've heard,
Right.
which is just unbelievable. I don't want to hear about global warming. It's not global warming. The weather swings in all directions. Watch us turn around and have like a bitterly cold winter.
Oh, it's
after
coming.
this warm
I bet you
spell.
anything it's coming.
I suspect it's going to be a very snowy winter, but
I do too.
that's just gut feel.
The persimmons have predicted it.
So are you all done with your reviews, or is there still one book lurking down there to be reviewed?
No, I've read all my book reviews. I've got a ton of TV series reviews and movie reviews that I'll be doing at a later point in time.
Well, with warm weather tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday,
Yeah.
maybe we'll be back out here again while we still got the pretty fall colors, and we'll get caught up with a few more reviews.
Yeah, because this is actually spanning back to 2023, so yeah, I need to go
We
through
need to catch up.
We can catch
We'll
up.
be doing a lot
We
more
can
this
catch
winter,
up.
and we're kind of building out the studio, so we hope to start doing reviews from the studio.
I hope to do animation, and we were talking about interviews, weren't we?
Yeah, I've got some interesting
Yeah.
friends that I'd like to interview, so we may get around to that. I may do one webcast on radioactive stuff.
Oh, I
Our
love that.
radioactivity collection.
Yeah.
That's extreme nerdy hobbies, and I got a few of those.
Yeah, it just tickles our fancies in just the right way.
Yep.
That little metal detecting.
So we'll call it a night for now. I might get out the big flashlight and record a train or two before we go home for dinner. So say good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.